Paul, what made you choose Kentech to partner with?
So, if maybe 3 years ago, we looked at the industry as a whole, as our product set as a whole, and we were always selling fire products, but we were kind of selling them as a courtesy to our customer base. It was a handy place to pick a few bits up. The market's always pressurized, so we were looking for other avenues where we could go and maybe make more margin, add to our product set, and fire was the way we decided to go. So it happened fairly rapidly after that. We started looking for, we knew we needed a panel, because you've got to be a panel house, and we knew we needed a head, so we needed a head house. And at the time, Kentech was the one that really stood out to us. So we had tried to contact you a couple of times beforehand, and we didn't really get there. So a big thing for us was that we weren't thinking wireless even at the time, but we were looking at the panel going, we can either have this as Apollo or as Ochiki. So it got to the stage where we said, the expo is on, we just phoned Johnny and say, can we come and see you? And that's what we did. Myself and Paul Facey jumped on the plane and we flew to the NEC to see it. Yes. And we sat down with you there that day. I think you blindsided us a little bit. You left Sammy with us. And we kind of told Sammy about our business and how we go about things and our tech support and the way we try to bring products to the market. And I think it just totally aligned with what you guys were trying to do. And like that was the day I think we more or less said, let's do something together.
As a distributor, then, have you always been through that avenue of supporting what you sell, not just the box shifter?
It's the cornerstone of everything we do. So if every product we support, we try and support it to the max. So when we first sit down, I can remember in a management meeting, and we made a decision, right, we're going to go full on for fire here. And Connor said, right, let's set ourselves a target. The target we set ourselves was to be the most tech savvy fire distributor in the country. That's the target we set ourselves, not to be the biggest or the highest selling, to be the most tech savvy. So when we spoke to you guys about that, you were like, this is brilliant. Like, so we said, we'll support it, we'll train up our tech guys, we'll do our own tech support, we'll do our own training. And I think we were doing all of that with Hike Vision. We're doing a lot of it with Ubiquity and stuff like that. So it just it's natural to us to do it. So I think it just fell into place.
Exactly the same story, DVS really is. Yeah, everything you say is just mirroring everything. So it's very clear. Not only why we chose you, but why you chose us.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, so our story is very similar to yours. Actually, there's a lot of synergies between the two different businesses. Here, and we can prove you can be friends in this industry. A whole bit of maybe if they came over to the UK and started selling, all jokes aside. So it's a very similar story. So DVS has always been a value add distributor. Our strategy has always been be the most tech. Pre or post sale, whatever that looks like from a support, choose the best products, work with the best partners, end to end, what fits into the product ecosystem that you can offer your customers. So you capture a wide audience. So going back 2 years ago, DVS were never in the fire market. We were very specialist at all other avenues of security, but never in fire. But we knew that was an area that we've always wanted to grow in and become the same as we were for security, but with a fire product. So very similar story. We also contacted Kentech previously. Didn't get very far to sign an email. But actually, there's a common theme going on here. But actually, for us, that timing probably wasn't right because we weren't ready for what we are now. So we went away. We tried to do it without some of the the big brands like Kentech. It didn't quite work out in the format that we thought. But so we realigned our strategy the same as you. What do we need to do to offer this to our customer base and become, I guess, a force within the nature, a trusted go-to source for fire products. So we did, as most people watching this will probably know, we acquired a very specialist UK fire and safety systems, brought them in-house, we acquired the specialism, and with that became access to brands like Kentech, where they then recognised that we had the expertise, we had the power to then, bring more people in to DVS to sort of grow the offering of the Kentech product family. And one of the things that really interested us with Kentech, the first time we tried it, was the end-to-end solution and the breadth of their product. Not, you go into a panel manufacturer and then a different head detector. You know, you can deliver, you know, hardwired or wireless and everything else like distinguishing all in one product portfolio, and they all talk and they're all seamless. And as most of you'll see, they're all manufactured here in the UK, just around the corner. So for us, it was an absolutely fantastic.
You specialise in specific brands, don't you? Whether it's CCTV, security, or fire. What makes you choose that brand, if you know what I mean?
So that's a really interesting question. So we have like a very defined strategy on what partners we choose to work with. And firstly, you have to like the people that you're working with, because, you know, that is where the journey begins, and that's how your journey will grow and your relationship grows. So we always look for the values, to make sure the values of the partners we work with, whether it's manufacturing, whatever, or supply chain, that they match our internal values. So we want to make sure that we're delivering, you know, customer first attitude. So if we're ensuring that we're looking out for our customer first and they're always at the forefront of everything we do, we expect our, you know, supply chain manufacturers and brands to also support us in that journey, which Chemtech have been an exemplary.
That's exactly the same as
It's the same experience. Yeah.
It's a lot of work for you guys, though, isn't it? For your tech teams, for your sales teams, to get that. Like, you put as much effort into the partnership as we do, kind of things. You know what I mean? With time before it even starts and seeing reward. So how is that going so far for you guys?
Do you know what, Johnny? So we always had the technical side to our business, and it's always been a kind of unique selling point. Like, so others have tried to emulate and copy it, but they've never quite achieved what we've achieved. And our stats are kind of off the wall for how we deal with our tech support. I think we've got a 92%
resolution.
So we answer 92% of calls first time, and we have a less than 6 minute callback. So if an engineer rings us from site, they don't get answered first time, they're getting a call back within 6 minutes. And that's something that we wanted to bring to the fire side of things as well. So we have carried it on. I think that's the unique selling point for us as a distributor.
And I was saying it to the guys earlier as well, our tech team totally bought into learning it as well, because they hadn't that experience previously. But they did the trainer with you guys, and overnight they became, well, there was work in it obviously, but that they became as proficient in the fire side of things as the CCT that they were doing for 2 decades.
I think we had about
It's incredible.
Yeah, we had about, I think we met you guys in the April.
Yeah.
And we had like quite a
Flurry of
quite a busy period from there until the end of the year, where we were just training the guys, getting the guys up to speed, getting our sales team up to speed and everything. I don't think we got product until that January.
January it was,
Yeah.
So you put a lot of effort.
We had so much, and that was just internal resources and getting everyone up to speed and everything before the stuff arrived and shit.
the foundations were as solid as you could get before we ever.
So you've been Cab Plus now for 2 years, did you say? 18?
No.
To March 2024, was it?
Yeah. So it just
They're coming.
Yeah.
And we've only been Cab Plus for 3 months, two or 3 months, something like that. So it's amazing meeting these guys, to be honest, because obviously, you know, we're at the stage now in the beginning, and, you know, it feels like we're doing it all right, because, you know, you were, you know, back then. And the fact that Chemtech have supported you throughout, and they're doing the exact same thing for us, you know.
I think, as we discussed with like the way we pick our partners, which is, like we said, was very similar ethos on both sides. You know, it's obvious to us that you pick your partners the same way that we pick our partners, right? Because you know,
100%.
The synergy between the two different companies out here is very close.
The first thing that was said in our place when we heard about DVS coming on board was, this is brilliant for us and for Chemtech and for the whole idea of KAD plus, like, you know. So you're spot on.
But you're right, though, it doesn't come without its challenges, because, like you said, we're both renowned for our specialism support. You know, that's pre-post, you know, marketing, whatever that looks like from a security perspective. But bringing fire into it becomes a whole new challenge. It's an exciting challenge nonetheless, but it is still a challenge, because, you know, the fire market is very how can I say this?
Different.
It's much different.
It's a good way of saying it, that's right there. So, you know, there's a lot of barriers to break down when you're new into that marketplace, when your traditional route to market is not through fire product. So when you go to market with fire product, when you're not known for that, there's a lot of barriers you have to overcome. And that takes a lot of time, resource, trust building. Of course, you've got to have the right brands on board. And luckily, you know, we started with Chemtech very early in that journey, so we were privileged to be able to go to market with their product, and that of course helps, right? But again, from like you had touched on earlier, Johnny, with the support, there's a lot of commitment and resource you have to put into that. It isn't a case of you just bring a box in, customer, they open it, somebody rings up and you know what the answer is. You have to go on a journey, and it's a continual development journey. It isn't overnight, and it doesn't stop once you've started, right? But we pride ourselves on that industry level support where you are trusted as an expert, that you can do that, these tech support calls with very minimum call time. Like you do 6 minutes, so we do average about 16 seconds. So you got a bar that you can go and meet them. We're past that kid guy sound taking off.
Just pass some of our support.
But it does go to show that, like, if you really put an emphasis on customer support, the customers will come back, because that is so valuable for support. Time is money, and everything you do, and where you can really help and add value to the customer, like a value add distribution partners like we are, that's where the sweet spot is for us.
So that brings loyalty from your customers in the end.
Absolutely.
So it's not all down to pound, shilling and pence in the end. That support before and after that job.
I don't think it really existed so much in distribution before now. I think in distribution...
Years ago, we lost it years ago.
Yeah. So the most distributors who distribute fire products in Ireland anyway, they're just selling boxes out the door. So it's a completely different angle.
I always say to Barra more than a distributor, because that's what you are. You're not box shifting, if you know what I mean. You put the effort in, and that time and effort in, whether it's surveying for K-Mesh, whether you're spending all day there, or you got a training room full of people for a full day. That has to be paid for, doesn't it? So absolutely, you guys need to maintain.
Totally invests in the whole thing though. Like we've been to exhibitions with you and stuff like that, and you've seen how passionate we are about selling it. You kind of feel more part of the whole thing because of the journey you've taken to get the whole team up to speed.
There is much more of a connection with it. With the product.
What I find with you guys, and not a lot of customers have got that trust. You'll phone me and say, "Can you phone this customer for us?" Or will you go and see this customer for us? A lot of people won't do that, but you seem to have a lot of trust in your partnerships.
Absolutely.
And stuff like that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it was something that we spoke about right at the start. You, Johnny, to be fair, you asked us to trust you with things, and that you'd come through on stuff for us. And you've held your word on everything I think you ever said to us. Almost everything.
Almost.
The true definition of a partnership. You have these two-way conversations where you trust us to deliver on what you want us or need us to deliver on, and we expect the same back, and it works. Chemtech's a prime example of how that relationship works. As a partnership, not just a distribution partner.
Yeah.
As you know, we use a software called LE2 to control all our panels. It's a licensed software. It's cloud-based. But you guys have got direct access to that. You can supply that to your own customers. Does that mean does that add a lot of value to you guys?
I think the biggest word you missed there in that whole thing was exclusive.
Yeah.
So for us, it's exclusive. So we are the only ones. If someone wants that software in Ireland, they've got to come to us for it.
Yeah, if then we're a direct account.
With you guys, they got to come to us for it. So that's been a driver of business to us. That you guys, you've given us that more or less, but you've given us access to that software. So we try and treat that and respect that as best we can,
But it works for us as well, because we can't have 3,000 direct customers. Our product's been going 40 years this year, you know what I mean? There's a lot of products in the field to support. There's a lot of new products going out the door. We can't supply everyone direct, if you know what I mean. So having you guys on board where we've got the trust that you're not just selling it and hoping it. You making sure you're asking that question, have you been trained on this? If you haven't, can we train you?
Yeah.
And with that conversation before there where you've had an argument with a bloke on the phone kind of thing saying, I don't need training, I just want the software. If you don't give us the software, well, you're not having it then. If you're not prepared to, it's a life safety system, if you're not prepared to do the training on it, you don't deserve to use it. You know what I mean? It's a life safety system. So all three companies have got the kind of the same ethos of going to that, haven't they, realistically?
And what we found, similar to what you sort of said, when we got access to the LE2 software portal to deliver the software, I think I probably vastly underestimated the power of the software, because nobody else does this, right? It's quite unique to Chemtech, and for us to be able to deliver on that to our customers is fantastic. But actually, the business we're seeing driven to us from people like yourself and other people within Kentech, you know, yes, as an idol, we probably knew some of these companies existed, but there was, you know, we probably didn't have a reason to engage other than actually you're driving sales towards distribution with your trusted partner to deliver on that. So actually, for us, we've actually opened up new markets and new customer potential and building relationships, and we probably wouldn't have done it or taken a lot longer to build.
They had no reason to come to me before.
Exactly.
And the whole value add to them then after they're essentially is that you're offering
And it's so fun.
product support, training.
Exactly, and it was a whole new conversation, and I think the installers aren't necessarily used to that conversation because they're now all of a sudden getting the whole, you know, we can do this, we can do site support surveys, you know, we've got full RMA team tech, and that probably captures them off guard to some degree because they're not used to it.
It's so rare.
Like Bears to Foxshire.
And you know, as good as Jake and his marketing team are, and he's done a fantastic job of getting the message about Kentech out there, there are still some customers that don't know that we are a Kentech partner, and to be able to then get them onto the IE2 portal then opens up those new conversations, which we, again, of all of how we've had, probably would have taken a lot
But
longer.
that might change for you, right? Because we probably experienced this a year ago, but
exactly. Yeah, you
very
see them
recently it's been suggested to us that we only sell Kentech. Right, so it will turn. People start associating you with the brand, and it's a real positive.
One of your main features as well is, and you know, it takes a lot up front. You guys fully stock our product, so you've got it on the shelf for when people want it. You don't have to say it's a 7-8 day, which is a big investment for you. You know what I mean? I've been to your warehouse. I've been to your warehouse. You know what I mean? There's a lot of product on that shelf ready to go to the customers that next day. If you know what I mean? Is that important that you always carry that stock? Is that get you a lot more loyalty as well?
We had to put another piece of mezzanine into our storeroom, right? So as we could do it in the Dublin warehouse. Cork is obviously much bigger, so you had the space, but we actually had to build a piece of more storage.
That's a fantastic problem to have, though. You have to expand to be able to accommodate that. Right?
Well, again, it's different from what we were used to previously with CCTV or with access control or whatever. That fire guys could come in and they look for 100 heads. So you have to have that stock. Otherwise, you get a portion. They are not going to do portion orders where you go, I have 20 and I'll get you 30 tomorrow, or what, you know, next Wednesday. You have to have that stock on the shelf.
Yeah, we mentioned that because we done 3 days on the back to back, didn't we, when we first got it? Yeah. I think even before you started getting stock, we started preempting, and there'll have been 50 to 100 in each day. In 3 sessions, you know what I mean? So we've seen about 200 or 300 people in them 3 days. And it was just an hour and a half, a bit relaxed like this, talking to them, showing them the product, letting them on. Then they took over after that. Then they followed up all these people, and their sales team go around and do the surveys for them. In fact, just to make sure them first jobs go well, and you know what I mean, that you kind of not insist, but you say, let us take the risk out of it for you. We'll go and do these wireless surveys for you.
We prefer to do it.
We go so far as so we'll do the initial consultation with them, and we'll do their survey with them, and then we'll probably do their quotation with them. They'll be trained. We'll go so far on a lot of guys' first install to say, do you want to program in-house with us? So we'll literally sit and program with them in-house, so they leave with the stuff ready to go, you know. And that's been really beneficial because you tend to not run into any issues afterwards. It's a quick process too. So
you'll be offering that soon. Exactly. Great. It's like really good. That's a brilliant attitude.
But that's the great thing about having, you know, like open conversations like this. We learn off each other, like, you know, and actually that benefits, you know, Kentech as a whole, because you know, if we make a mistake and we pass it on, vice versa, and we learn from each other's learnings and downfalls and mistakes, actually become more powerful.
And we are you 16 months ago.
Exactly.
So, well, I said, I think because I probably didn't say that, but it was a couple of mistakes that led us to go, let's start programming a few of these before they leave, you know. So it's another thing that you do for the customer that they've never have experienced before.
That's brilliant.
And in Saturday, we've always done that for all our security projects. We're so like renowned for like our pre-configuration, pre-staging, and you know, like sort of project testing, acceptance testing. But like with the fireside, you kind of almost, because the format's slightly different, isn't it? You almost that sort of thought process, or did slip our mind, where But actually, like you said, if you bring a customer in, program the system, and they leave with a fully programmed system, the confidence of that customer must be excellent.
It's quite
Of course, yeah. And then they buy into you then as a loyalty, don't they, right?
I'd like to thank you both for the journeys you've made today, some further than others. And hopefully this partnership will last for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It was great to hear the guys' insight on things as well. Like I'm kind of excited for you because
and I did it so similar. It is amazing how similar it is. It's
Absolutely. We'll be on the phone to you
Terrible.
every couple of days.
It just goes to show we're not all ivories in this house industry.
We might miss your call, but we'll ring you back.
Within 6 minutes.